we need to finish off. We went over, your grade is weighted though. The tests, obviously, you have to be able, another thing that some of you, and I inevitably hear during the year, maybe it won't happen as much because you're an accelerated group, but sporadically, from high school all the way up to teaching at U of R, I have people that come up and say, oh, I'm a bad test taker. I can assure you, I'll draw this analogy, right? Imagine, because the symptoms that they go, I say, well, what makes a bad test? Oh, I get nervous, because tests are like a really, high-pressure situation. I get really, really nervous in high-pressure situations, and it makes me sort of shut down, and everything's coming at me, and it gets really confusing, and I sort of freak out, and I don't know what to do. Now, if that's the case, I would strongly, personally, and this is not a judgment call, I would be very, very nervous about you getting a driver's license or learner's permit, because I can assure you there will be some day that you'll be on the road and someone will cut you off, or there will be construction or a detour, and a lot of stuff will be coming at you really quickly because you're in a 2,000-pound vehicle going 60 miles an hour that can kill other people. Don't get behind the wheel. Because if you're a bad tester, and I don't want to get you in a situation that could get you flustered, could get you nervous, right? You don't want to be, God forbid there's ever a reason. Imagine, you're going in for a surgery, or a relative is going in for a surgery, or a dog is going in for a surgery, right? And right beforehand, they're taking your wisdom teeth. And right before they put that gas and knock you out, they go, don't worry. I do have to caution you, though, sometimes if anything goes wrong, I panic and I freak out and I shut down. And then they put the mask on. Would you feel confident with that person as your doctor? Probably not. Probably not. Now, the other end of it, what makes you, the reason that you, and it's very, the feelings are wholly legitimate. You will take tests, be completely nervous during it. What that lets you know, that's your body's physiological way of saying that you're not prepared enough. When you started walking initially, you were really, really nervous to do it. Watch a baby try to walk. They initially, those first steps were like this. They look like Frankenstein, and they're reaching out for things to support it. And once in a while, the toughest thing for me was watching my godson start to walk, and he's sitting there, and he's looking at me, and he takes the first step, and you're so profoundly proud. But the whole time he's looking, and the reason he's walking to you is he's looking for something to support himself. And then he gets, and he falls trying to get you, and then you go, ah! But over time, you do something more, you get better at it, and all of a sudden, most of you aren't looking for an adult or a wall to grab onto as you walk into class today. Because you're pretty good at it. You've done it routinely. Math is the exact same way. There's not new ways to multiply. There's not new ways to divide or add or subtract. All of those things are honed, repetitive things. And math is profoundly repetitive. And if you're not good at the foundational stuff, it's going to be difficult for you to extend. And it doesn't mean by any means that you should stop trying. It just means you're going to have to work harder. And that's another thing. Some of you here, there's two different tracks that get you to an enriched in an enriched course. One of those is that you are mathematically inclined. You have a strong, natural, math-thinking brain. That's something that I can't teach, no one can teach. You see math better than most people. You know people, if you all have been in classes with each other before, you've been in rooms and you go, how the heck did that kid get that answer? I'm still writing my name at the top of the paper. There are some of you that are math thinkers. And there are some of you that have enriched work ethics. Meaning if I give you a question with 100 questions, or give you a sheet with 100 questions on it, you'll do all 100 of it with the neatest, nicest penmanship possible. You will study and analyze every scenario that was brought up, every type of question, from the beginning of the unit all the way to the end. And you will study harder than anybody else. I don't care which one of those two you are. My job is to make sure that you are 100% successful with this. And we'll get to why in just a minute. But the stuff that you need for here, I'm a big packets person. I'll try to push as much stuff as I can, so I'm not a slave to the copier. But I do note packets, huge on them. You'll get thousands of them. You probably need, this was one person's Calc Finder from the second half of Calc, meaning that there's also one that they had for the first half. Okay, it's kind of thick. Okay, they left all of their papers so that they can see. There's a lot here. Now, so I'd advise you to get a binder, loose leaf paper. I'm one of those people. I think that police officers are profoundly brave. The firefighters are profound. EMTs are very brave people. The troops are very brave people. And so are people that do math and pen. That is a kind of bravery I will never understand. You are everyday heroes. I am a math and pencil person. I encourage you to be. I hate seeing giant squiggles and X's when that's why God invented erasers, so we didn't have to look at that. I ask that you bring pencils with erasers if you could. Loose leaf paper. Again, somebody in the other section was like, can you tell us anything about yourself? You will discover I have many quirks. I'm a very odd, strange person. I'm very loud. One of the things that I don't get how people that do this function, some people will take and rip pages out of a spiral notebook, and there's little octopus tentacles all along the side. I cannot deal with that. You will get scissors from me handed the wrong direction, because I'm not going to cut myself when the fault is on you. If you look over on the side and need loose leaf paper, there's a ton of it over on, literally I went into Office Depot one day and said, how much loose leaf paper do you have? And they said, well, we have these 2 boxes. Well, how much for the boxes? It was $85. And I got giant boxes of paper because I was so sick of it. That's what's left. Work your way through it. I'll give you the paper if I don't have to get the tentacles. If you miss class again for any reason, make sure that you watch the video. You will be coming in taking that assessment regardless of whether or not you were here. Everything from I missed for my learner's permit test to a funeral in the family, that's fine. I don't judge why you're not here. You could miss for a music lesson. I really don't care. If you don't watch what we do, though, you don't get out of the assessment for the day. So, yes, you will take the 0 on it or whatever you can summon from it. I'll tell you, let's see, what else we got? We did the Remind Google Classroom. We went over your grade. Focus on the understanding. It's very, very frustrating when you have people going, what do I need to do to get a 95? A 95 is a number. I can't tell the difference between someone who has a 95 and a 92 and a 97. You can't tell the difference. You can barely tell the difference between someone who gets a 60 or a 65 or a 70. There's not much difference there at all. Okay. So, I don't know. Focus on the learning. If you do well on more things, that's how you get a 95, I guess is the easiest way to say it. If you get 95s, your average will be 95. One thing, too, that I have no tolerance for, and there's not many things that will cause you to get judged. This definitely does, and this stays a judgment that stays with you. Is people who go through and cheat, and you all tend to be behave like little Xerox machines. If I give you homework and tell you I'm grading it, you will find somebody who's done it, copy their work. I've seen it in the cafeteria, I've seen it in the study hall. It's fine, or you'll start a group chat and then people will message out, this is what the answer is, and take a picture of it. That's fine. I don't, very seldom, I'll give you homework, I'll say, here's 30 questions, do however many you need to. Some of you need to do a lot to be successful, some of you don't need to do many at all. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you know how much you need to do. Don't complain, though, about the amount. Don't cheat from other people. If I see it on a test or a quiz or anything that's graded from here, it's an automatic 0 for everyone involved. And I don't have a high threshold for it, meaning if I'm looking and you've missed, if there's 5 questions and you've got 2 of them right or 2 of them wrong with the same wrong work, with the same error in the same spot, I'm going to call you over and say, I need you to do these questions again for me. Because one of you is going to get it wrong the same way, and one of you will panic and not know what to do. Because one of you did the original work, one of you copied from the other person. There's a whole department of the FBI, the counterfeiting department. We went to college with people who worked for the FBI to spot counterfeit money, to go through, and they do the same thing that we do to find counterfeits within high school. So please do not cheat. It's I guess I'd say it's personally hurtful, but you could care less about my feelings. It does lower my opinion of you, because there's people that do the right thing all the time, and there's people that sort of try to skirt the rules and focus on the wrong things, and that's one of those symptoms of the people who are focusing on the wrong things. I will strongly encourage you to get to know Ms. Coyke. Now, raise your hand if you've worked with Ms. Coyke before down in the math there. 1, 2 of you. Do you think she's a nice lady? I view her as the math department grandmother. She is the nicest person. I sat in another room once while I was helping a student get ready for his calc test that he had missed. We were in one of those back rooms, and listened to her explain to a student how to divide. with more patience than I've ever seen anyone do in my entire life. I think I had 3 strokes just hearing like the questions that the person was asking, knowing that they were in high school, and she explains everything so calmly, make sure you get to know her. If you have questions, you come see myself, you come see Miss Coit, let her be a friend. She's the nicest lady going. She'll probably want to give you a hug. Now, we'll get you calculators, we'll log into those later. As far as what Enriched students do, this is an example of what my expectation for enriched work is. If you're given a question that requires a drawing, show the drawing. Okay? If you're given something that requires a formula, show the formula, show the substitution, show the steps. Some of you, I look at how you get these answers sometimes on the read, and there's like math magic, like the heavens opened up and the angels sang to you what the answer was. I need you to walk me from the question to the answer, okay? That's the expectation constantly. And if you will get questions wrong on assessments where you have the right answer, and you won't get any points for it if I don't know where it came from, right? So the goal for you, and I guess at the end of every year, I always have the kids go through and give a review of myself, and you don't have to put your name on it. They're brutally honest, and it's wonderful. Seeing it from your perspective is a lot different than mine. The other end of it is I go through and have them write letters to you all as to what to expect for the upcoming year. So these were the top 7. I doubled 6 for some unknown reason. Things that they either wanted you to be aware of or to expect. So yes, you have graded assessments every day. There's not much. Sporadically, you'll get extra credit questions on a test, but not a ton, not enough to make a significant difference. The tests do count for a lot. There's a difference, especially, well, if you play a sport, maybe, I don't know, I have any other analogies. There are some people who are all-stars at practice, and there are some people who are all-stars during the game. You need to be an all-star during the game. Don't tell me you get nervous when you take tests, because we'll work on making sure that you've gone through and had enough reps and enough practice, so when the test comes, you are calm, because there is nothing I can put in front of you that you haven't had done before. This is the biggest thing. I am a profoundly competitive person. And I actually had kids last year who had this class that linked up to AP Psych somehow. They said I was like the textbook pusher, and they gave me this analogy of myself, which I actually think is very true. You all are my little tubes of toothpaste, okay? Now, in the beginning, to get you to a 70 or an 80 and settling for, a mediocre amount from you is fine, like getting the toothpaste out of the tube initially. It's very easy to get the toothpaste out when it's full. And then towards getting the end, some people give up. You know how there'd be like a little blob in the corner that you can still get out, but who's going to take the time? I take the time. I will literally wring every ounce of potential, or wring every bit of potential out of you into actual talent. And I'll see if there's a little bit on there. If you get a 99 and I know you can get a 100, I will be on you to get the 100. I squeeze every little bit out of it until there's nothing left. Why? I found this out the other day. Schrader's Enriched kids have never beaten Thomas Enriched kids. But fortunately for you all, this year, I have all of them. Now keep in mind, my average is normally at least 10 points higher than Thomas kids for regions. But normally they have 2 or 3 of us. You're all my little angels. You are going to go to war. Your war is that math exam. I want you to do so much better than the Thomas kids that they fire all the Thomas teachers and hire you to come to teach next year. That's my goal. We will prepare so hard. I will throw everything at you. I want you to get a 100. And the goal, the reward of getting a 100, if you get a 100 in here, you get a brick on the wall. It lives forever. No matter what it is, you can go through. There's one there. I've had 2 others and one over on the side there. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, they painted over the room. I got rid of like 8 of them. They don't know how, but I told them to stop painting them. They kind of stopped cleaning the floors and other things as well. But anyway, if you do that, you can put how terrible I am. You can put a giant picture of yourself. I don't care what you could draw something inappropriate. I won't have them erase it. I'll make sure your name is on it. But the brick is yours. You own it forever. You can bring your children in and show it. Okay? But if you get a 100, and last year I had 6 99s. I was so disappointed. Now, like I said, I'm a pusher. We will get every ounce of talent that I can out of you. Now, also, I don't need to tell you I'm a very, very loud person. I probably figured that out as well. I think that's it for that. If you get above an 83 on the read, you can go through and take pre-calc as a dual credit student. I can assure you, every single one of you needs to be getting above, let's say, a 90 on that exam. An 83 is a very, very low bar. If you go on and do that, you can take pre-calc as a college course in addition to earning Schrader credit. That gets you 4 college credits. I think it's about 180 bucks. When I teach pre-calc at U of R, if I remember what the kid said before, I think it's $3,000 for the class. So you pay 180 or 3,000. That's 3,800. You can also, I'll encourage you to be involved in Math League, which literally is amazing. There's no cuts. It meets like once a month. Some of the questions are interesting. You can get out of it as much as you want. For those of you that like playing around with math and numbers, it's a really, really good thing to do. I should also say, I encourage you to take a computer programming class. Some of the youngest billionaires on earth have gone through and made stupid apps that they've sold for lots of money. The youngest billionaire on earth is a guy who invented Snapchat when he was in high school. In his computer programming class, he sold it for $1.4 billion. And he is, I think, 23 or 24. But in any case, there's one thing that we need you to do. This is your notes packet. We actually went a little bit over. We'll start with this. The expectation is that we'll be able to get through this. Take a look, please, at this first question. If I asked you to factor this down, hands up, please, and you tell me what the GCF is in question 1A. And 1A. Yep. And what's left after you factor that out? There you go. Take a look at the second one. Hands up, please, and you can tell me what that GCF is. We've got 1. We're going to get 6. 2. 3. 4. What do you want to say? And what's left after you take out the 7? Yep. You have 8M, and 5P. All you're doing is undistributing. Now, what about the GCF in 1C? Hands up, please, if you can tell me that. Just a 1, so we'll factor that out. Not really. How about in 2A? Who can tell me what the GCF would be in 2A? We'll wait for 6 of you. Take a look at what's there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you want to say? Terrific. And when you factor it out, that's what you're left with. Now, because we ran over just a little bit, I'll give you these last 2. Your homework for tonight, loves, is just to go through and sign up for the Math Excel. The instructions are posted in Google Classroom. Make sure that you're using the course ID when it says course ID and the access ID when it says access ID. If the instructions are posted on there, get it done. The goal is for you to have it done by the end of the week. We'll go over how to log into the calculators and everything next time. Should you, one thing before we go for the day, should you ever fall behind another class, there will be time. So I'll say you got to go watch the last 5 minutes of the other class because we can't ever, all 4 of the sessions need to be in the same spot. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Go home and take a nap.